Have you ever wondered what it would be like if there was someone who is just like you? Now, I don't mean like an identical twin, but someone who is exactly like you, from the way that you looked to the way that you spoke. That would be pretty cool. So then, why can't we just walk into a lab and get ourselves cloned? Well, the United Nations Declaration on Human Cloning pretty much bans human cloning because of the serious medical, physical, psychological, and social dangers that it may imply for individuals involved, including the need to prevent the exploitation of women. In order to fully grasp this concept, let's first discuss what cloning is and how it occurs, its effects on certain individuals, and its overall impact on human society. According to the National Human Genome Institute, the term cloning describes a number of different processes that can be used to produce genetically identical copies of a biological entity. Cloning is the process that produced Dolly the sheep. This is so fascinating because Dolly was one of the first mammals to be cloned. Although she was not as authentically created as other mammals are, she was able to have 6 children. How was Dolly cloned to be so healthy? In order to fully grasp that, let's first take a look at somatic cell nuclear transfer, the most common form of cloning in mammals. In somatic cell transfer, the nucleus of a somatic cell, which most of your cells are, is placed inside the egg of a donor to create a new cell. That new cell then divides on its own to create a new individual. The clone will be an exact copy of its somatic cell donor. However, this process has raised a number of moral and ethical concerns among people worldwide. In most labs, these cells are fertilized in vitro, or basically in a test tube experiment. However, only a few of these embryos are actually implanted into surrogates, and most of them are actually disposed of and destroyed. Furthermore, only a few of the implanted embryos actually make it to childbirth because of genetic complications. And even if they are born, they'll most likely be born with severe disorders. Not just that, but the biological age of the clones will be the same as its somatic cell donor. So, for example, if a 100-year-old man decided to donate his somatic cell, his clone would be born an infant, but internally be 100 years old. That's pretty bad. But it's not just the clones that suffer in this process. According to Project Muse from Johns Hopkins University Press, an incident in South Korea regarding cloning raised major female exploitation concerns. Basically, it is claimed that many of the egg donors were coerced into donating their eggs. In addition, Project Muse states that there are several health risks, both short-term and long-term, when it comes to egg donation, due to ovarian stimulation to obtain eggs. So, cloning is both harmful to clones and the egg donors. But what about cloning's impacts on society as a whole? Cloning, if done on a widespread scale over a long period of time, could potentially interfere with the processes of natural selection and evolution in science. When humans reproduce, their offspring are different from each other and from their parents. This genetic variation is why some humans are more immune to certain diseases than others. However, if all humans were the same by cloning, we would potentially decrease this genetic variation by a huge factor. Take bacteria, for example. Bacteria reproduce asexually, which means that each one is an exact copy of its parent. Since all bacteria of a certain strain are pretty much the same, it is easier for some vaccinations and medications to kill them all at once. If all humans were the same, one environmental factor could potentially wipe out a lot of humanity. Although this is more of a long-term effect of cloning, it is still one worth considering. All in all, cloning does seem like a fascinating idea. Some scientific researches in stem cells and the field of cloning can suggest that cloning cells could help treat diseases. However, until we can find a more humane, accurate, and environmentally safe way to do so, it remains out of the cards for now. So for now, we're all our own unique individuals. We're all different from each other with our own purpose in life, and that's what makes us all so special. So, let's learn to embrace what makes us all one of a kind. Thank you.